What's up, everyone on the internet? Thank you for making this video part of the day. I am so excited to upload one for you guys because for this video, we're gonna be taking a look at probably the most underrated anime of 2023, Firefighter Daigo, Rescuer in Orange. Okay, so this was one of those shows that was on my radar as soon as I saw the initial announcement trailer, which had a lot of sirens going off and a lot of buildings crashing down. And let me tell you, as soon as I saw that trailer, I was like, oh, this show is gonna be freaking awesome. So this anime came out back in late 23, and it was a show that covered a whole branch of storytelling that I really scratched the surface on, which are stories that are focused around first responders. And I love how this show puts you in the boots of these firemen as you watch them go through the training and then go on several rescue missions. More specifically, we followed Daigo, who is our main firefighter and apparently is the perfect firefighter who will dislocate his own shoulder just to save a trapped civilian. And even though he trains 24/7 and is physically in his prime, socially, he doesn't really know how to deal with people. Then we have Shun, who in a way is pretty much us, given how he's average in both strength and mentality, but really strives to surpass Daigo in being the best fireman. And finally, you have Yuki, who shows us that even girls can be as tough as the men. Now, one of the things that I loved about this series was how throughout the entire season, the story throws a lot of common terminology that Japanese firemen use on a daily basis. Okay, just to be clear, I have no proof that the vocabulary is accurate. I'm just assuming that the writers and creators spoke with several firemen in order to make this story more authentic as possible. So going off of that, I love how the first 3 episodes fill you in on the sort of training these recruits go through before they're even assigned a unit, which is where we see a lot of the skills and techniques most firemen use to save civilians. And then the story just takes off from there once we see our 3 characters graduate and become firemen. And for the majority of the season, most of it revolves around following these characters on a daily basis as they go on different adventures. But one of the things this story does is that throughout the entire season, we see several events take place in the future as all 3 of our characters are taking place in this sort of apocalyptic scenario where all of Tokyo is on fire and it's all hands on deck. But we'll get to that later. Anyway, while the story contains 23 episodes, most of the season is 3-episode arcs where a lot of these rescue missions push our characters to their limits. I mean, the first arc pretty much sets the stage when you watch these guys endure their training and pretty much escape a burning building without using any respirators. And that was just the training arc. Once you see these characters go on actual missions, they gotta think outside the box to save the civilians, like dislocating your arm to get into a tight space. And in a way, as we progress through the season, the stakes continue to rise where we almost watch some of these characters die. And episode 13 is a great example of how sometimes you can't save everyone, and I love how that particular episode gives you an idea of what drives these characters forward and how this story can also show you a more emotional side. So yeah, I really enjoy this series, but as much as I loved it, unfortunately, the story does trip at the finish line. Going back to what I mentioned earlier, throughout the series, we are given brief glimpses of an apocalyptic future where all of our characters are trying to save lives while the entire city of Tokyo is on fire. Now, unfortunately, we never really do get an explanation as to what happened to the city, and just when things are about to kick off, the season came to an abrupt end. And I mean, I remember watching this season and being, okay, great, next episode. And then a week later, I checked to see if there was an update and no response. And then 1 week turned to 2 weeks, and then 2 weeks turned to 3 weeks, before I soon realized that episode 23 was the season finale, to where I just looked at the screen and was like, wait, what? Wait, what? No, you can't end it right there. And this pretty much threw me into a fit, because after getting so invested with these characters, to have the story slam the brakes at a moment that was built to something big, it really felt like a kick to the nuts. And to add more salt on the injury, now that I think about it, I remember the present timeline was also building up to a fireman competition in order to determine the best fireman unit in all of Japan, and we didn't even get that. So looking at some of the flaws of this season, the fact that it was juggling 2 different timelines in one season, I think that's what hinders this anime, given how we don't get a payoff when the season is really interrupted with an abrupt ending. So overall, despite how I feel about the ending, I still enjoy the show as it gives you some sort of image of what Japanese firemen go through. Again, I have no information as to what Japanese firemen go through. I'm just assuming that the writers had to speak with firemen in order to make this anime as authentic as possible. But then again, if you want an authentic depiction of what Japanese firemen go through, you might as well just watch a documentary about them. But like I said, I still had a lot of fun with this anime, and if you're looking for something to binge tonight, maybe you should take a look at the show. But be warned, even with 23 episodes, you don't really get a complete story. Well, that's gonna do it for this video, guys. That was my overall view for Firefighter Daigo Rescuer in Orange. If you like what you saw, hit the subscribe button so you can always updates from this channel. I'll see you next time with a brand new video. Bye bye.